Vaughn, since we've been on the air, I've just been handed NBC's latest reporting that suggests that House Republicans appeared to have finessed a second spending agreement to avoid a looming government shutdown hours after the original bipartisan agreement was torpedoed by Trump. This feels like partly manufactured drama, partly, wiping the egg off their faces. Is this likely to hold if you're seeing this reporting as well?
Yeah, it was the now president-elect just posting that there is a, quote, all caps success in Washington, that Speaker Mike Johnson and the House have come to a very good deal, and that it should be passed tonight, that it would extend the debt ceiling for 2 more years, which we would expect Democrats to push back aggressively on. Look, it is wild, I think we can objectively say, to watch a budget be created like this. We saw John Thune and the Speaker Mike Johnson sitting by Donald Trump's side at a football game on Saturday, and it's not clear the extent to which conversations existed about the CR. Elon Musk was there as well. These are men that have been together and who, as Speaker Mike Johnson said, he was on a text chain with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. So it's not quite clear where there's a drop in communication. But I think that it's quite remarkable, too, to watch Elon Musk openly call for the shutdown of the government through January 20th. Of course, Donald Trump had 2 government shutdowns, traveled around the country talking to federal penitentiary employees, Forest Service employees, people who stopped getting their checks for several weeks. These are people that are federal civil workers who rely on getting paid for the work that they do, let alone serious conversations about the government agencies and the serious work that they do at a point in time in which places like the CDC are actively trying to work through and plan for a transition in which political appointees from the Biden administration will be leaving and will be needing to welcome in new employees. There's a lot of major repercussions, but, this is, I think, for Donald Trump here, to how far can you convince the American public to go, right? We saw this in 2018, 2019 with his trade war. There were farmers who voted for him that I talked to repeatedly who said, we may not even be able to break even this year on our crops, but it's for the betterment, for the long-term good that Donald Trump will be able to secure for us. And that's an argument that we heard during the shutdown. It's for the long-term betterment, securement. So how long can Donald Trump continue to make that sort of a case to the broader American public, openly touting for a government shutdown? It's really tough. That's one of, I think, our reporting questions that ultimately only the American people can answer to, because Elon Musk can cheer on a government shutdown, but the implications for folks who are entering the holidays are very real. I talked to government employees who cried with me back in 2019 during the government shutdown. So I don't know how much Donald Trump is going to be able to buy into that.
There isn't a lot of precedent, Sarah, for government shutdowns once they're being endured, endearing politicians responsible for them. And I take your point that Musk running the country is Trump's design. And the reason at this point he doesn't probably feel threatened is because it's an arrangement that works for him. But the Democrats are, this is the state of Connecticut. Democrat Representative DeLauro, the former Appropriations Committee chair, is now the top Democrat, slamming Speaker Johnson and Republicans for reneging. She said there was, quote, a good agreement in place, quote, but for President Musk. And let me show you what Hakeem Jeffries had to say about not even knowing who to negotiate with.
That bipartisan agreement has now been detonated because House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt the very working class Americans that many of them pretend to want to help.
What do you make of the role that's built off of that Musk is playing here? Who is in charge, do you view, in terms of who you have to negotiate with?
That's a great question. I don't have the answers right now.
It's a question that doesn't seem to have an obvious answer, and maybe doesn't have an obvious answer because the politics aren't yet obvious to the Trump side. But whether by design or by circumstance, it is certainly shrouding this transition in a whole lot of who's on first questions, giving the Democrats what seems like an opening.
Yeah, look. All we're getting right now is a preview into the next 4 years, especially the next 2 years, right, while Republicans are entirely in charge of the government. And I think it's important to realize that A, this is what the American public asked for, and B, governing is actually for grown-ups, and Republicans are children who have empowered the richest man in the world to basically just tell them what to do via tweet and text messages. I mean, the idea that this CR was getting negotiated last night between Vivek Ramaswamy, Mike Johnson, and Elon Musk via text, like, maybe it wasn't last night, the night before, but like, these are just preposterous things. And I think that really is what the American public is about to see. And I think they think it might be fun for a while. Things stop being fun when checks stop arriving, when prices go up because of tariffs, when the government shuts down and you can't go to any of the places like the zoo or any of the places that the federal government runs. You know, you don't get. There's a million things that happen. And Musk saying, oh, just shut it down and, you know, we'll all be fine for 33 days. I mean, this is a person with no understanding of the government. And look, hey, I'm all for having a smaller, more efficient government. But the idea that Elon Musk, with his absolutely non-existent government experience, is the one to deliver it. On one hand, depending on the mood you're in, you could find it enormously chilling that this sort of clown show is what is running the greatest superpower in the world. On the other hand, there is something true to form about it, right? This is Donald Trump made no bones about who he was. And I listened to voters in focus groups. A lot of them say, I voted because of Elon Musk. That's why I voted for Trump. I voted for Trump because of Vivek Ramaswamy. And so if people wanted these folks to be empowered, they are now. And we'll see if people like it.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Dowd has a similar take. Like, let's let them, you know, hold the Fabergé egg that is our government, our democracy, and throw it around amongst themselves. And if they drop it and smash it, we can talk about who you should hand, you know, the most precious things on the shelf to.